Welcome back and on to news. We've just heard that former President Jacob Zuma is appealing the decision by the KwaZulu-Natal High Court to dismiss his special application to have advocate Billy Downer removed as prosecutor in his corruption trial. The court dismissed the application in October, saying Zuma failed to meet legal requirements. To discuss this now, we're joined by the NPA spokesperson, Advocate Mthunzi Mhaga. Very good evening to you, and thank you so much for speaking to us. Advocate Mhaga, if you could just tell us exactly when you appraised of this intention and what is your stance? Is it something that you are going to oppose yourselves as the NPA?
Look, we received the papers on the 10th of November, wherein they are indicating that they are applying for leave to appeal against Judge Kuhn's ruling that Advocate Downer can continue to prosecute Mr. Zuma and Thales. However, as we've always maintained, all these issues that relate to political interference, bias, the impartiality on the part of the prosecution team, as well as the title to prosecute, were ventilated and properly pronounced upon by two courts, that is the Supreme Court of Appeal as well as the full bench that sat on the permanent stay of prosecution in Pietermaritzburg. So this is the third judgment that reaffirms our position that they have no bearing on the fairness or otherwise of a trial in respect of Mr. Zuma. Therefore, we will vigorously oppose the application for leave to appeal at a date when it has been arranged.
Has there been any indication on what this appeal is being mounted on? Because from the last application, I believe it was on Section 106, subsection 1H, and Section 106, subsection 4, and it all had to do what is understood with a title to prosecute or locus standi.
Yes, they are challenging the title to prosecute, saying that he is also biased against the accused persons, and as such, Mr. Zuma won't receive a fair trial, and therefore the entire prosecution team should be removed. Initially, they had a problem with Mr. Downer alone, but subsequent to that, they filed to say the entire prosecution team cannot prosecute him as they have no title to prosecute and they are biased, which was dismissed by the court in a well-reasoned judgment. Those are the grounds upon which they are basing their appeal, to say the court misdirected itself in its finding and that the full bench will arrive at a different conclusion, which is a standard ground upon which you can mount your leave to appeal. I am not privy to the papers that they have submitted. However, we will oppose the application as we believe it has no merit.
But if you could just perhaps educate us, the public, on the issue of independence and impartiality, which was argued in the original or the last application, and what it has to do with whether one is a private prosecutor, the interpretation or provision thereof.
Look, Mr. Downer is a public prosecutor, not a private prosecutor. And therefore is guided by the NPA Act, the Constitution, and the entire rule of law, and the Criminal Procedure Act in execution of his duties, which is to prosecute without fear, favor, or prejudice. And therefore, the allegations of political interference, bias, impartiality on his part, and lack of title to prosecute were dismissed on the basis that they must link them to a fairness of the trial. And they could not do that, which is why the court dismissed them as baseless and speculation.
So what would then this appeal then mean? Is it going to a higher court? What is different from the argument that was mounted to before? Obviously, as the NPA, you would say prospects of success are limited, but I just want to understand the rationale for those of us who aren't, au fait with the intricacies of this.
Of importance is the fact that there's a hierarchy of the courts in terms of the appeal. From now, because it was a decision or judgment of a single judge, it will move to a full bench, which is two judges. If they're not satisfied with that, they can go to Supreme Court of Appeal, where there are 5 judges. If they are not happy with that, they can go to the Constitutional Court on a constitutional issue when it comes to any rights of them being trampled on or violated during the proceedings.
So in short, that means these proceedings could possibly go on longer?
They could go quite a long process given the litigious nature of the accused person.
All right. Thank you so much for speaking to us. NPA Spokesperson Advocate Mthunzi Mhaga confirming there that the NPA is going to oppose former President Jacob Zuma's appeal on the decision given by the KwaZulu-Natal High Court to dismiss his special application to have Advocate Billy Downer removed as prosecutor in his corruption trial.